and welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wanup. Welcome to 2026. Who knew? Who knew 2026 was going to be upon us so quickly? That's what I keep thinking. I am really happy to be here and have another season 9 of this podcast. So thank you for listening. Thank you for the support as always. Thank you for the YouTube support, the social media, and all that jazz, because as I have said many times, it's just me. So yeah, no, thank you very much for all the support always, and for listening to everyone's work and how they all get it done. And this is, it's award season, so I know that the majority of my listeners in this country are probably voters. So, I'm glad that people are listening and hearing how the designer, the decorator, the art department, the cinematographer, the fashion fashion designer, the wardrobe designer and costumes, how we all get it done. So thank you so much for paying attention to details and wanting to learn more. As everyone loved that Avatar, boy. I feel bad about Avatar because it's so much work. I don't know how you can. It's something like next week we'll hear about Tron, the production designer Darren Gifford on, and like previously with the Fantastic Five. I mean, 4. It's so much work when you do that fantasy and with Avatar creating these worlds and a whole new way of filmmaking. I know it'll be recognized, but I don't know if it gets what it should. I guess I should say that, because I feel like it's a lot. That is a lot of work there. I should say the Critics Awards just were this past Sunday, and Best Production Design went to Frankenstein, and you can hear Tamara Deverell on here, and set decorator Shane View. Congratulations to them and their team. I would say that would be my pick also for Best Production Design this year. I just loved it. I loved hearing about it. I've dorked out over it. I've seen it maybe 3 times now. I love it. I think it's just a beautiful film in every way, and just a great creation. So yeah, congratulations to them. What are we going to say? Well, thank you. I was going to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for watching on YouTube also. The watching of all of this has become so much greater and so much more feedback. So thank you so much for that. And I kind of have some exciting news. I do this all from my heart, and I do this all myself. And I was thinking about, maybe transitioning this podcast to a subscription. And in that, it takes so many downloads over so much time and blah, 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 over iTunes and whatever to get it done. And I'm there. I can do it. I've been able to do it for a while. And I'm really thinking about that, where subscriptions would get extra episodes and maybe get the episodes early. So I might play around with that in the next month or so. I have a lot going on the next month or so with this award season, so it might be after that. Maybe then I can handle it. And I have to say, the podcast is kind of doing bonkers around the world. It's number 1 in Finland today. It's number 69th in the USA for film interviews. It's number 3 in Austria. These markets I never really think of. Number 6 in Uruguay. Number 15 in Israel. I usually just pay attention to US, Canada, New Zealand, number 27, Australia, United States. I kind of always look at those. Canada, I'm 77th today. But these other countries that just come out of nowhere, I'm like, wow, that's Chile, number 25. What are you doing down there, Chile? I'm so happy you're listening. Thank you. So that's always awesome. So yeah. Again, I hope everyone liked that Avatar episode. And I also gave out the top 5 episodes of last year and my top 5 book recommendations for the year. I forgot I forgot one. Designing Movies by Richard Silber, which I am physically reading. Most of the books I do are audiobook. And since I'm physically reading that, I think that's why I forgot it. And I haven't finished it. So to be fair, I haven't finished it. But I absolutely believe it will be my number 1 book of 26 because he just goes over his whole career. And if you don't know about him and his brother, twin brother, they were production designers. And Richard Silver actually became the head of Paramount for a little bit. His work includes Rosemary's Baby, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Baby Doll, Dick Tracy, which is a huge impact on me. So I'm a huge fan of them. I've done a deep dive into both of those brothers and did create another production design series of that, which I'll release later in the year. So look out for that class coming up too. So I got a lot going on. What I'm watching? Not much. I had a busy week. You know, you got New Year's, the kids are off. We did Disney. Not Disney. I'm sorry. We did Legoland. Felt like it. Went to Vegas and saw The Wizard of Oz. And I can't tell you how I was welled up, I think, for the first 10 minutes of the movie because as a decorator and designer, to see your film that way, I thought was very inspiring, and I'm sure people couldn't be against it. And there was a lot of set extension and AI and all that. And but I thought, especially having studied Cedric Gibbons, who designed it in 1939, wow, like what would he think of this, of the set extensions and kind of a redo of the Emerald City, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but like the forest scenes and the poppy fields and the where the scarecrow is and Dorothy's farm, and it just broadens that design so much. And the interaction I thought was great. There's fans blowing, there's leaves, and your seat's vibrating during the tornado scene, and every time the Wicked Witch is on, your seat's vibrating, and you're looking all over all the time. And it was very interactive and great for the kids. They absolutely loved it. The sphere itself is fantastic. I'm obsessed with, I took pictures of like how they did it, like the lights on the outside, and then inside it's reminded me kind of the Guggenheim in New York City, like those rounded floors that keep going around. And it was very modest when we went in, and then when we came out, it was all lit green and red, and then they had an interactive show with set pieces and like the wizard's little behind the curtain area, and I just loved it. I can't talk about it enough. It was a little pricey, and I think it was worth it. I mean, I just do. That was my Christmas present, so I was pretty happy with my Christmas present this year. So yeah, the Sphere. I think it's going till March. So check that out if you can. I recommend it. Get a little. It took 4 hours to get there. It took 6 hours to get back. That was a bummer. But traffic. It blows my mind that there is not a bullet train to Vegas to LA. Blows my mind. I know they're building that one that like ends up in Riverside or I don't know, Rancho Cucamonga or whatever. It's not good enough. We need a bullet train from like downtown LA to downtown Vegas. It's absurd that there isn't one. We also went to Hoover Dam real quick, and the Art Deco architecture of all of the buildings there is gorgeous, and the brass is gorgeous. And if you haven't been to the Hoover Dam, look it up. It's really beautiful. It really is. It's stunning. But I'm a dork, so whatever. What one-up's watching? I can't remember if I talked about Pluribus last week, but phenomenal. show. Just something different, something making you think, and you don't know. I have no idea where it's going or anything. So Pluribus, which is on Apple, production designer Denise Pizzini, and set decorator Ashley Michelle Marsh, who has been on this podcast. They both have. Dear friend with Denise. Bravo, my friends. Fantastic. Even in that last episode, going to other countries and just a ton of work. They built that whole cul-de-sac full of houses, and I am sure and I hope that they are recognized for that in the ADG Awards, which is it today? Is it today? No, it was yesterday. Yesterday was the last day of ADG voting. So I hope you got your votes in for A Man on the Inside. And also, your favorites. And also, I hope you looked at the ADG website and what everybody's presentations were, because, again, I can never say enough about them. They're fantastic. I binged, sort of, Stranger Things, because they gave out, 4 episodes in the beginning of December, 4 episodes, like Christmas, and then they made you wait for that last one, which was a 2-hour episode, which I believe they also released in theaters. Why did I have to wait all that time? My husband was like, why are you watching this? Because I put 10 years ago, it started in 2016. I mean, I gotta finish it. And yeah, great. Holding off those episodes was not worth that much of a wait. I thought you could have just given it all to me. I didn't care, especially the last one, but I get it. They wanted to put it in theaters. Production designer Chris Tarullo and set decorator Jess Royale. I believe I saw in there that they both did 42 episodes, which is the complete series for 10 years they worked on this. Great job. I mean, fantastic. Even in this last one, this radio station, and then they go into this building, everything's melting. He's got a ton of clips of that on his social page on Instagram. So if you want to check out his behind the scenes of that, it's really great. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. All right, let's get to it. Talking too much. Today, I am chatting with production designer Alexandra Schaller about the Netflix film Train Dreams. And this one has been haunting me in my brain for weeks since I've seen it. The film is based on a Denis Johnson novella, and it follows one man's life after a tragic incident. But it does it through the sets and through the lighting and through the landscape and this cabin that transforms and trains and this quietness. It's like these little moments in life. It really hits you, I swear. And as a parent, it really hit me also. Alexandra breaks down how she and the team turned Washington's landscape into a character, built this cabin multiple times because it is a character, designed a fire tower on the edge of a cliff, created a lodging camp, built a train, built a plane, all on a tiny indie budget, and still shot almost entirely with natural light and candles. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful film, man. We also get into the color language of this film because there's so much greenery and everything, and how the color yellow becomes a character's presence long after they're gone. So I just had a very interesting conversation with her. I really enjoyed the film. They did a ton of work. Again, her presentation on the ADG website is fantastic, and you can watch this on the YouTube channel, the pictures that I have. Alrighty, I hope you enjoy. I'm just gonna say congratulations again on the independent film nomination for Best Film this year, which I think is so well deserved. It's such a good film.
Thank you. I'm so happy for the team.
Yeah. I was thinking about how to describe this movie this past week, and I think it's haunting. Mm-hmm. It's haunting me, this film. In a good way.
It stayed with you.
Oh, definitely. It definitely stayed with me because I have young kids, and I really can't watch anything at this point about anything harming children or anything. Not that you see that in this film or anything, but there is an incident and, things happen. But his reaction and the way he lives the rest of his life is just so impactful as a parent and everything. So did you know of this book before you started?
I knew about the book and about the author because my husband, who's a producer, is a huge bookworm. And so he has some of Denis Johnson's books on his bookshelf. And I had seen them there, but I had never read it.
I've never read. I'm unaware of it, but I'm definitely looking into, like, I do a lot of audiobooks. I don't know if I can
Okay, well, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Because this audiobook is also narrated by Will Patton, who also narrates in the movie. So it's kind of nice to see the parallel.
Oh, yeah. I met that guy in person once. He was very nice. Getting involved with this and getting the mindset and everything, I wanted to talk about your color palette because your background is so green, green and brown and, earthy. How did you discuss with, the DP and the director, like, are we gonna, what mood are we, how are we gonna handle this color palette?
I think a lot of the design of the movie started from a conversation with Clint about the work of the land artists and how their work uses the landscape as the material and the canvas, and they infuse color into their landscape pieces. And that was something that was kind of inspiring to us because we wanted the movie to feel really grounded and naturalistic. And, the whole script and novella rides this line between the documentary like observation and the dreamlike. And color was a very subtle way to weave in a little bit of the dreamlike quality. And there was a very close collaboration with the costume designer and I on the color palette. And we established the color yellow as Gladys's color. And, she has such a presence throughout the movie, but she's actually on the screen for such a short space of time. But, hopefully subtly, you always feel her like Rainier does through the color yellow.
Yeah, and that beautiful shot when they're walking through the fields, the flowers and the yellow flowers, and it's just every shot in this needs to be on shot deck. Like
it's funny because the costume designer is a very good friend of mine. We've worked together many times, but before we even shared our images for how we saw the world, we had separately pulled the same color palette and many of the same images. And she and I often also start from a very abstract place. Like we, pull pictures of worms chewing at bark and things like that. And we had the same weird images.
Oh my God, that's funny. Same brainwave.
And we both saw yellow for Gladys. And then when we were scouting in Spokane the first time, Clint and I saw that actually there were a lot of yellow flowers growing naturally in the landscape. And one of the things that we wanted to do was make sure that we maintained a sense of place all the time. So it also made sense to harness that and, sew it through the film.
Yeah. The cabin is a character in this film. It's very much a part of the story and the evolution of this cabin and everything. And I am so thankful you sent over your packet of pictures and everything because I totally dorked out on it and just looked at all your research and it's beautiful.
Thanks.
Is that your ADG packet?
It is. I actually had made it before that, and I thought, what, I'm just going to use it.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. I always encourage people to go look at the ADG packets, and they keep nominees up and everything, and they're just wonderful ways to look at all of our process. So it's
I love looking at it too. This one is very long, so I'm very impressed that you made it through the whole thing. But Clint wanted me to do it because it's such a small movie, and a lot of it feels naturalistic and takes place outside. And he wanted me to put it together because he wanted people to know that actually we built so
Oh,
much for
he
this
built
film,
so
even though
much.
it's a tiny movie.
Yeah. I How was that on budget? I mean, were you like, oh my God, we have $1 left? Or was it like, okay, we can do this?
It was really hard, I have to say. I mean, look, every movie is really hard. It's like even when you work on a big budget thing, there's never enough money. But
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
was really, really difficult. I mean, it's not typical that on a small indie movie that's a tier 2 that you have to build a cabin 4 times, a fire tower, a plane,
Yeah. You had a lot of
trees,
things.
all of that stuff. So it was really a challenge the whole way through. And it's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people don't think about is that a movie that's outside, yes, you have the beautiful landscape as one of the sets, but you need a greens department.
Yes. Oh my
And
God, you need
that was
greens.
something that was an ongoing conversation. But one thing that was good was that, we knew that Adolfo wanted to shoot entirely natural light. I mean, the whole movie is natural light and candles. So,
It's beautiful.
props to my set decorator, Melissa, and my prop master, Andy, because they bought hundreds and thousands of candles and lanterns
Yeah.
and all of that. But we knew they wanted to shoot natural light, and so a lot of the resources that would normally go towards the G&E package could be reallocated to us.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to give up some money because I'm lighting your film for you.
And he was willing. He was like, I don't need a truck. I don't need anything.
Ah, good for that, Adolfo. Bravo.
I know. He likes to be very nimble. He likes a lot of flexibility, and he wants to be able to see 360. Don't we all?
Yeah.
But he actually wanted to, so we had to be ready for that.
Yeah, there's beautiful candlesticks and lights and as they, I mean, not so much in his cabin, but you see the progression of electricity and things throughout the film too, which is great. In for the cabin design, was it like for you? I want to build something like this, but then we need to make it bigger. We need to make it smaller. Like, how did camera conversations go with the design of the cabin?
That's an interesting question because it's really funny because originally we were going to do this movie or a portion of it in Eastern Europe, and that was never going to work, and it didn't work. We didn't do it, but I was starting to work with an illustrator that I work with when I work over there. And so I just made sense to continue because we had started. And when we were trying to convert the concept art to drawings, just to get a rough sense of what the footprint would be, it was all in meters, and she was trying to convert it, and I was, and it was a whole disaster. So of course, when my art director started, we did it properly from scratch. But when we were taping it out, it was funny because we were like, wait, is that centimeters? Is that inches? Like, what is that?
I don't know.
But
I don't know how to do it.
I think, I always like to try to build it true to size.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something that you feel when the set is much bigger. And I know that often the lens can make it feel smaller. But for this one, it felt like, I think for the actors, for the immersive quality, it wanted to be as close to a real cabin as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming you did all the interiors scenes in this cabin. This isn't like a separate build on a stage. This is all one set.
That was one of the conversations that we had at the beginning because the thought was, okay, well, maybe we'll find a cabin first and then we'll build a shell because we want to burn it down and then do the interior elsewhere. But I think there's just something about the interplay between the interior and exterior and the power of the landscape that we would have lost had they been separated. So we did everything at this site. And I built it for real with real logs. So there was a big conversation about fly walls or no fly walls, and we did no movie magic trickery. It was like
you're not flying
for real logs.
Yeah. I saw that you have wonderful pictures of the construction in there too, and the machinery it takes to build these things, and thinking like, oh my God, people just did it. How did they do it? How did they do it themselves? It's crazy.
They had oxen pulling it. They had pulley systems.
Yeah. Every shot is just so cinematic and so beautiful in this film.
Thank you.
So the interior vibe is very simple, but they have a lot of stuff, which is
They do have
nice.
stuff.
It's great because sometimes it's like, well, they don't have a lot of stuff, but they do, which is nice. It's like the evolution of their relationship too, of getting married, having a child, and the I mean, working in the house, making dinner. There's just really beautiful scenes in here. How did your floor plan, because you have a peekaboo into the bedroom, was that
Hmm.
also keeping that? I mean, there's a whole thing where when he rebuilds the cabin, he puts the bed in a different place. But in
Hmm.
this situation, how did that go that you didn't want doors and keeping it open?
I because I knew that Adolfo would really be following them with the camera, I wanted to allow that fluidity of movement.
Mm.
And originally we were going to have it be just a one-room cabin, but there was something about thinking about the way a Clint and Adolfo might look at the actors and observe that it felt nice to perhaps have a little bit of distance from them.
Yeah. How long was the construction of this cabin?
Oh my gosh, it was very tight because when we decided on the piece of land at the very last minute, we sort of broke ground and then we realized that there was no drainage and all the snow melted and then it became a swamp.
Oh,
So then we had to we had our excavator bury a bunch of the logs that we were going to use to build the cabin in the earth to support the cabin.
oh, so it wouldn't sink.
So I have crazy stuff that you have to do. So I think we probably built this in about 3.5 weeks because we needed to shoot this version of the cabin on day one.
So I have so many questions. So you do this version,
Uh,
right? Did you build and shoot it in order? That's an easier question.
did we build it and shoot it in order? Let me think.
Because
We
you have
Yeah,
land, you have empty
mhm,
land, and then you have a
empty land.
cabin, and then it's on fire, and then you rebuild the cabin. I mean, or then you have aftermath look of the burns. Then you have a new cabin.
Yeah, and what's not in here is the in construction cabin where he's lying there and looking up the sky,
Right.
seeing the comet.
And then you have the growth at the end. I mean, you have like 8 versions of this cabin here. So
Hmm.
how did you shoot that and allow for like this
Turning
shooting
it over.
schedule? Yeah, the turnover, like the shooting schedule. Like how's that going?
It was bonkers. I have to say. I mean, I have an amazing, amazing team who pulled it off somehow. But I think we shot it mostly in order, but we shot the fire at the end,
Shut the
of
fire at the
course.
end. Okay.
Yeah. And then it's a secret, but we shot the burned down cabin and the ashes on a different piece of land.
Would have never known.
And it was really hard because we were like, okay, we have to find a piece of land that has the same relation to the
To the
water, to the
water.
trees, to everything else. And so that was really tricky. But I think it's just one of those things where like the movie God smiled upon us and decided that we needed a break, you know?
I was very mad at the characters for even moving out here all by themselves. I
I
mean,
know.
I just
Why do they do that?
why would you do that? It was ridiculous. What kind of? I know that he wanted to make the cabin exactly the same for when
Mm-hmm.
if they came back. But what adjustments did you make, if any, for him in the design, or was it the same? Is it the same?
Well, I think that it's everything, all of the broad strokes are there because it's like an echo of the past or what he's lost, and everything is much simpler. I think what we did mainly was close off the bedroom.
Yeah.
And what we did, you can see a little bit in this image here, is that we brought a lot of greens in to wrap around the house to feel like the new growth in the forest was kind of springing up around the cabin and
Right.
claiming, its space back.
Yeah. And it's not as fun inside.
It's not as fun
It's sad.
inside, and we also, wanted to char the logs a bit
Mm.
And just very subtly, because we didn't want to telegraph very loudly, oh, look, he rebuilt it with burnt logs, but just very subtly, we wanted to feel the fire and
That's a
the
great
burn and the
detail.
loss.
That's a great detail. Yeah. God. And then, I mean, the amount of research and everything, and I know that there was a conversation with your costume designer too of the colors of what he would be
Mm-hmm.
in bed, and choosing even the blankets and everything, and then having this growth. How long does this scene take? Because the scene is he's died in bed. Spoiler. Sorry, spoiler.
Spoiler, yeah.
He died. He lived his whole life, sad life, and then he died in his
What
bed.
a sad life.
Nobody finds him, and then the earth just takes him, and I did a body farm once, so
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of research too of growth when bodies are out there. Um, so that's what we're discussing, is this beautiful scenery of growth inside the cabin, outside the cabin, and throughout his body when he's done. So discussion of what he's going to wear and the blankets and everything, that's a big discussion because
Big discussion, but a lot of those blankets are ones that he's had for a long time. You see them in a few different scenes in the movie. Again, it's really subtle. Like one of the quilts on the bed is actually one that was gifted to him by Ignatius Jack after the fire. And that was a collaboration with the costume designer. And we designed the blanket, the quilt together, and the colors because we wanted the colors of the quilt to motivate the greenery that sprouted up from it.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
It was a difficult thing to do because it needs to feel very naturalistic and not outside of the established language of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And so it was this balance of trying to figure out how to make it magical, but also believable.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely believable. It happens. I mean, it's sad, but it happens.
There were so many conversations about the dummy and whether it would be real grainier or whether it wouldn't. And then we got this busted up dummy and we were just like, we cannot look at this face. This is not a horror movie. Like, it's not possible. So we were like, okay, we'll just
I gotta be
sprout stuff.
I know you had a picture that's better lit, but this one I feel like we could see more.
See more, yeah.
I don't know, in the film when I watched it, I wasn't really focusing on his face. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of like, oh, he's in the bed because they say it, but you're like, oh, he's in the bed, and there's so much to look at when it's on screen of like this unbelievable, oh, it just nature takes over. So I don't think I didn't focus on his face, but
that's good. That was the idea. But you know what's funny is that, I mean, I feel like you more than anyone else probably understands this, but there were so many details of sprouting we put all throughout the cabin that you don't see, but we know they're there.
Yes. Well, you have to, and the act, and so this, did I read that you came back? What was it? Oh, with the sunrise or something. You came back, and it was just a very small crew to capture this in the sunrise.
Yes, because we were shooting only natural light, the magic hour at either end of the day became very important. And because in the summer, those magic hours are more than 12 hours apart, and our shooting schedule was really tight, it was just a teeny tiny group of us who went back. We woke up before sunrise and we went to shoot it. Everything was prepped and dressed and in position the day before, but we went there and just made tiny little tweaks just for the camera.
That's beautiful.
We wanted it to feel very quiet and serene.
So beautiful. The fire scenes you shot on a stage in like a void.
Only some of them.
Only some of them.
This is only one small sequence of his imagining of Gladys's death that was shot on the volume,
which I just poured out tears of like, oh my God, this is the saddest thing. But it's really interesting to see like the the monitors and how the greenery is put in front and then how it's shot and everything. It's really interesting because yeah, I mean there was a child in that scene. I could see why you're not.
Totally. And she's running
Yeah.
and there was a whole rock face that she was climbing down and then she falls into the water here. So there were a lot of different pieces that ultimately didn't make the cut, but that meant that it was just better for it to be in a controlled environment.
Is this your only stage work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Oh
and we were shooting this on the other side of the state when my greens team was turning over the cabin for the overgrown version. And so I was flying back and forth between Spokane and Seattle.
Wow. Oh my God. That's a tight schedule. In this, so you're shooting everything outside. When did you, what time of year did you shoot this?
We shot, I think, March to June or April to June, something like that.
So, was there snow? Like, what were you dealing with here? Because
yeah, I mean, we had all the seasons. We did some pre-shooting where Grainier is actually walking through the snow, and that's real snow because it was important to Clint to have all of the seasons.
Yeah.
So that we actually got a sense of a full life and time passing. But we were mostly shooting in the spring.
Wow. I mean, it's tough shooting outdoors. You don't have a cover set. You don't have any relief from the elements when you're shooting like this. It's really hard.
It was really hard for the team. And because Adolfo wanted to be able to shoot 360, I think it was challenging for the shooting crew because there was nowhere to really set up that was safe.
How did where were trucks were beyond?
I think they were beyond yonder.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Don't forget your flag.
Yeah, I know. I think going 10-1 was like, see you in half an hour.
Yeah. It's like me when I leave the house. Does anybody have to go potty before we leave? Because there's no going after that. In the film, we also follow his like work path and career and like the development of railroads throughout the United States, which is always a wonderful, fascinating story. And sad.
So sad.
And this is VFX. The bridge that they are building, is this a real bridge? No.
So part of it's a real bridge, but the big trestle extension is VFX.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
And it was really important to me for the trestle to be made of logs, because if you look at the historical research, you see it made of logs. And you also see it as timber. And for me, it was important for it to be logs because you see these raised mountainsides and then you see the cause and effect of the logging.
Yeah.
And when we designed the fire tower later on in the movie, which was also a build with a VFX extension, we also used logs for that for the same reason, because I wanted to feel the presence of the forest like throughout the movie.
I found this really fascinating in looking at your pictures of how you built this, because it's a the tower, the real one, the tall one, was that a build or was that there?
That's this.
I know, but this is on the ground.
It's on the ground. Yeah, so they scanned my tower that I built, and then with visual effects, we extended it.
Perfect, because your genius in this design of putting it out a little bit like on a cliff or just an overlook, and then it looks like they're up high. Genius.
Yeah, that was a very difficult set that we turned around, I think, in 72 hours. I mean, look, it's just a little half fire tower, but if you look at the painting, I feel like the scenic artist did such an amazing job. But it was hard because we had a perfect fire tower, but then because we were shooting in the spring and we were at high elevation, it turned out that the fire tower was snowed in. And even though we're in the most beautiful state in the country with, fire towers and vistas, they were either too far away, you had to hike in, hike out, or they were under snow, or they were in disrepair, or something like that. And so at the last minute when our fire tower was snowed in, we were like, oh shit, we got to build something. Yeah. And Adolfo was already shooting. And because we were shooting everything natural light, like the position of everything was so specific. So I was out scouting alone with my compass like screenshotting, being like, okay, we're this many degrees southwest. Can I put the corners here?
Oh my
And
God.
he's out shooting in the middle of nowhere. Does he have service? Nobody knows.
Oh yeah, service. It's really it's almost like you shot this in the 70s or like it back then because you probably nobody could probably have service.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah. Um I what I found interesting about the dressing of this tower was that you all of a sudden are sort of whipped back into, oh my God, years have gone by.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's still on a horse. Like he's still on a
He's still
horse.
on a horse.
He's
Yes,
still on a horse.
he is the person that time forgot, I think.
Yeah, and it's almost 'cause I watched this with my husband. And I was like, wait a minute, that's a tanker desk. Like, where are we? When what
Mm-hmm.
happened here? Where? So is was that a conversation of pushing the time in this dressing, or was it just let's be what it is? I mean, I don't know.
Well, her character is based on real women from the 1940s who did this job because it was often women who went up and manned these fire towers.
Mm,
So it was kind of important for it to feel like the 1940s and get a sense of time passing. But there was a lot of talk about, okay, well, should he still have his horse and buggy or should he have a car? And I think it made sense for Clint for him to kind of be a little bit behind the
yeah.
times, you know?
Oh
He's
yeah.
sort of in his own world and life kind of happens around him.
Yeah. Well, it gave me a sense of because I feel like, oh, he finally kind of got a job. He got a job to take his mind
Right.
off his sorrow. And then, well, how long has he been out there that the time has passed so much? So it did make me think a lot, like when he goes back into town throughout the film, of like, oh, they really. It's different. Like you guys had to
Different now,
change
yeah.
the dressing of the cars or the automobile, like,
Hmm.
lamps and things like that. So that was really interesting to me to just find the timeline through the dressing.
And, we wanted it to be very subtle because arguably a lot of this is his memory. Like we're living in his mind and his memories, and how you
Yeah.
remember something is not necessarily how it was. And so we
Yeah.
wanted a little bit of that flexibility without really telegraphing and marking specifically each of the different periods, because that's not really what it was about.
Right. The little logging camp that you guys set up. I don't know if that's the correct name for it, but
Uh-huh.
so you shot at a logging facility. No, it's not a facility.
A lumberyard.
A lumber
My
yard.
art director, John, was out scouting for logs when we were looking for logs to build the cabin. And he went to this place and he was like, wow, they have some pretty big trees here. Like, we should look at this place because maybe we could use it for something. And so I went there and we looked at it together and we mapped out a version where we could set up a logging camp on one side looking this way, and then on the other side we could be in the cut, because we needed lots of different versions of forests and also lots of different stages of the cut, which is where they're actively logging.
Yeah.
And this wasn't actually scripted. It came out of our scouting and kind of making a pitch about how we could show this side of the world.
Oh, it's a great detail. It really, I mean, it's fascinating of, the jobs that, people had to do to make transportation and make everything back then. It was great.
Well, and it's so cool because I didn't grow up in the U.S., so I don't know so much deeply about U.S. history, but it's kind of interesting how all of these logging towns actually became the towns and cities that we now have.
Right. Because that was their city center. They built everything up from there. And I think you're scouting this in one side and then the showing it in the film and the others really.
Yeah, and look at Bill Macy sitting on that log. I mean, that log is really huge. And this was the only place where we saw big trees, because what's so tragic about the movie and also the world is that actually we've cut down all the trees that we're talking about here. So scouting and trying to tell the story of these enormous 12 12-foot diameter trees is really hard because they don't exist anymore. We cut them all down, and so we have to build some of them.
And now we have soft wood. Now we have soft lumber. Just quickly, when they showed trees falling, is that real?
Unfortunately, it is real. But what I will say is that we worked very closely with the state and the Forestry Service, and we shot in areas where they were already logging.
Okay. Yeah.
So there were no trees that were harmed for the movie, and the movie then did replant trees to kind of offset that a little bit.
It's wonderful. It's great visually to see the magnificence of the trees too, and the shots looking up and everything. And this great, you found a research photo of someone like this gigantic, what is it, like a 8-foot wide tree or something, 7-foot wide.
Yeah.
And the guy is like inside the cut of the tree. And then what I didn't notice in the film, and not till I looked at your pictures, is that the two guys standing next to the guy in the tree are standing on like pieces of wood, like a saw or something. Like it's because it kind of like, I don't know what they were standing on when I saw it in the film, and it's recreated from a photo that you found, which is fantastic. It's such a detail, which is amazing.
Yeah, it was funny.
And you built it's a fake tree now. They didn't really dive into an 8-foot wide tree.
They did not. That is a tree that we built. And then, resources were tight. And so, and this was the genius of my art director, really. Like, we figured out, okay, we wanted to, have this version of the tree for this. In the film, it's framed as a photograph, really, or like a quick snapshot that you remember. And then there's another one that's of Hank Healy, who made his house in a tree.
Yes.
And so Hank Healy's house actually is on the other side. Oh. We added a roof.
Oh, wow.
And these moments were ones that were going to be cut for budget reasons because we couldn't figure it out. And we're like, no, we have to do it. And so we'll use the same tree for both things.
Oh, that was genius. Yeah.
And we'll also shove the giant tree on a cart and make it look like it's being taken around. We're going to use it. It's going to be worth it.
We'll make it work. You have to. That's so art department. That's so the passion of the art department making things happen and figuring it out is like genius filmmaking. It really is. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like departments everywhere art departments everywhere are really wonderful, but there's something specific about the Washington state folks that we had, because it's such a small market there that they really know how to do everything, and their unions cover so many different positions, so they're able to do lots of different things. And
that's awesome.
They made so much of Melissa's set dressing. I mean, they were whittling sticks into candlesticks and doing great. They made a lot of the stuff.
I love that. I love people getting involved and being as excited as I am.
Yeah.
That's always helpful. There's also a great, I'm sure it was a reference for, I saw the reference photos, but then they would nail up people's boots into trees, and then you see like the growth over time. But this is also genius, like greenery, like your greensman, and like working with aging and everything. So it's you had such an amazing greenery crew and painters, I must say.
They're amazing. Yeah, my greens folks, my key greens were Rob Joy from New Orleans and Matt Lask from Portland. We kind of had to bring people from everywhere. And actually the key scenic, who actually sculpted all of the bark to make it look like it was being swallowed by the tree, is a production designer in his own right. And he lives in Spokane, and his name is Vince DeFelice. And he did this, and he went on I remember it was a Sunday, and he was on his own, and he was like, I'm going to go and do it. And he just did it there on site. And he's an amazing sculptor and artist.
It's a wonderful visual. And I know it's many departments making that happen. So bravo. And it's such a great detail. Also, you made a train while you were at it. While you had no money and no time, you made like a train. So that's cool.
Yep, and in the picture there, it's so nice to see these actually. So on the right, you see my art director, John,
Mm.
and he's there building the train himself.
Yeah.
He's doing it because, it wasn't supposed to be like a full train. It's supposed to be a rudimentary early prototype of a train, a squat locomotive. And it's also based on a bunch of research that we had. And I was like, okay, we need to find a squat locomotive. There is no way that we're going to build this. We got to call the railway museums. We got to do something. And, again, it was a one problem after another, the same as the steam donkey later in the movie. It was just like, oh my God. Okay, we found one, but it's all busted and rusted. And how do we fix it? And we can't afford to fix it. It's more than to make it. And how do we get it up to the Canadian border and all this stuff? So we're just like, you know what? Like, we're just going to make this thing. And so John rolled up his sleeves, and here we are.
I mean, you got construction, you got paint, you got special effects with the steam. You probably got some sort of transpo going on because it is moving. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot going on just for this little guy. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could really ride him too. We took a spin.
Oh my God, that's so cute. Was it pulled or pushed? Well, how'd you do it? Pulled. Yeah. That's great. Oh, it's awesome. The store in town that he goes to is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I think it almost killed Melissa.
Yeah. What? So this, I saw your before and after, but the before is basically you had an empty shell, which is always nice. And these beautiful windows that you came upon. So what is the town here that you're shooting? Is this all right? This was an existing street you had found?
This is an existing street in a town called Tico. It's a tiny, tiny town in Washington. And I don't think it made it into the final film, but we have dressed the street with cars and horses and dirt road and all of that, because then we see him later on walking around a city, and we wanted to show that contrast, but for whatever reason it didn't make it in. But yes, it was a real town because we wanted to show Bonner's Ferry.
I mean, it's a lot of product. This is a costly set.
Yes, it was. And the only way that it was possible, because there was so much else going on, was, we found this place that was empty, and I was like, we absolutely need to rent the space for more time than we need, so that Melissa and the dressers can pop in and out at their leisure, because it's not possible for them to do this giant overhaul on the quick production schedule. And so luckily we had it for a while, and so they were able to kind of work on it over time.
Oh, that's great. Did you is that wall existing, or did you make this space smaller? Or was
yes, we did.
You did. You did, yeah.
Yeah, there were doors on both sides. On the right, there was a door to the outside, and where there's, a lot of 2024 at the time bogies and signage, and so we were just like, let's just close it off.
When did you start prepping this? How much prep did you have?
It was pretty quick. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I went to Spokane a couple of times to scout before we went to prep for real. And then when we went to shoot the movie originally, we were interrupted by the strike. Even though we were genuinely an independent movie, it was just the sort of no, let's not do this. So I had time to think about the movie before we started prepping for real. But real hard prep, I think, was January, and we started shooting in April, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, for a period piece with so many things going on, that's a lot. It's a lot of.
We also couldn't ship anything from LA. We were like, okay, great, history for hire, check, know. But
oh God, they would have loved it.
Trucking that stuff, on our budget. So Melissa really went hunting.
Oh my God, it's awesome. And you built a train and you built a plane, right? You built this. This wasn't existing. You built this.
That's right.
Oh my God. So you have
for the wide shot of the plane, when you see the pilot and it's on the ground, that's a real plane that we used. It's also yellow, Gladys's color. But we had to build this because, silly us, we thought that we could just, get a vintage plane and put Joel in the plane and shoot it, mount cameras to it. But the insurance company was like, absolutely not.
No
You're
way.
not putting Joel up there. And so we were like, fuck.
Yeah. Damn
So
it.
and again, I would say John Lavin to the rescue, my art director. He built the plane himself with a couple of
Oh my
people, and
God.
then special effects built a gimbal, and here we are.
That guy is awesome. But
I know
so
he is.
you had a because I see it in the background, which you had a plane for wide shots, right?
Hmm.
And then you built the one that he's up in the air on.
Hmm.
I really appreciate the photo that you have of this showing the mechanics of this gimbal and what has to go into it. And you have the monitor in the foreground of
Uh-huh.
what the shot actually is. And then in the very background, there's like a basketball net, like because you've set up in this field. Like
Yeah, in this
this is
airfield.
such a filmmaker's photo that you have here. And what's also key is there's not 100 people. Like you're doing this with like the minimal amount of crew needed. I feel, which
Hmm.
is fantastic. It's really a great shot. I love it.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's movie magic right there. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, this airfield was something that we did in additional photography later on because we
mm,
were just like, during production, we were like, we can't afford to build the plane. We'll just deal with it later. Do we need the plane scene? And, then,
yes.
yeah, we did.
Oh my God, the plane scene made me cry again. Cried like 3 times in this film. I can't watch this again. It's like he's Sing, right? I can't watch that again. It was too much. It's too emotional.
They really do pull at your heartstrings, those two, because Clint and Greg are long-term creative collaborators, writing partners, and typically when one directs, the other produces, and they kind of go
Mm.
back and forth like that. And yeah, I feel like those two are sort of emotional powerhouses with their writing.
What do you feel was the biggest challenge of this? I mean, you had elements, you had builds, you had so much, but what was your
I think it
biggest?
was the distances and being out in the very remote areas.
Mm.
And we were based around Spokane, but we weren't really shooting in Spokane because they didn't have that much town stuff. And so the distance between the locations was really vast. I mean, we did a lot of the bridge and locomotive stuff all the way up by the Canadian border.
Oh,
So it took hours driving between. And I would say that, this is a very ambitious movie for its size. And I knew when I started that I needed a really good team. And I
yeah.
pushed a lot for the people at the outset. And I think that was really worth it because my set decorator, art director, and prop master were really amazing. And same with greens and scenic. But it was really a case of encouraging production to allow us to hire
Yeah.
outside of the immediate area for some positions.
Yeah. I mean, you pay for the experience and you pay for what you get a lot of the time, so it is worth it.
Totally.
It's worth it. And it
Yeah, but all
shows.
of our set dressers have to come from Seattle, which is not the immediate area, even though you're like, it's Washington and
It's a big state.
they still qualify for the tax credit, but we have to house them and give them per diem and all of that stuff. So it was a challenge, but the crew was really wonderful and they poured their heart and soul into it.
What makes you really happy when you see it on screen with this film?
Gosh. I feel like we did what we set out to do, which, you're never really sure when you're making it, right? I mean, I think when
Yeah.
we're watching the shots and you're there at 4 a.m. with Adolfo shooting, you're like, oh, I think we're making something special, but you don't really know until it all comes together. So I'm really happy that I think the closeness between all the departments, too, is part of what makes the world feel so whole
Yeah.
because we were all really creatively in sync behind the scenes.
That's awesome. It shows it's a beautiful film and it's not a complex story. It's a very simple story and just the storytelling through all of the elements that you created and designed are really beautiful and really lend
Thank you
to.
so much. That means
Mm.
so much.
Oh, it
I mean,
really
especially
lends
coming from
to.
someone who does what we do,
Oh,
because it's not a flashy film.
no, I mean it's not, but it's gorgeous to watch. Like the scenery and the locations that you have and then you've built into and have integrated like that house, how you integrated it in and Oh, and then you're showing like him planning out the house with the rocks. Like there's so many levels to that cabin being a character that it was great to watch the evolution of that through the film and how much it meant to him.
Yeah, we just wanted all of the sets to be in conversation with the land and the environment.
No, it showed. It's really beautiful. So thank you for talking to me.
Thank you so much
it's
for
so good. Haunting.
Your
it's
very
haunting
thorough
me.
observations.
Oh, yeah, it's haunting me. This film, I must say.
Well, the other thing that's really special about it is working on something that seems to really resonate with people. I guess I wasn't really expecting it, or I didn't know what to expect, and that part is really special too, because everybody takes something different from the film, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is nice, like working on something, like you said, like you never know how it's going to go, but when people reach out to you and like you're not expecting it, like I haven't heard from that person in years and they liked this project and everything, it's like, it's so, I didn't write it, but I helped. Like I helped achieve it, I feel. So it means something to all of us because we're all putting our heart and soul and time and effort and love into it. So, but it shows in so many of our projects, so it's great. And especially
and as we were talking about before, I hope that this movie and movies like this and all of the other amazing movies you've been looking at and talking to the team from, kind of reinvigorate the industry a little bit.
Yeah.
That like we can really make beautiful things here and that we should continue to do that.
I mean, it's the smaller films that inspire a lot. You know what I mean? It's those little films that get to go out and, get to use the real locations and sometimes, and it's an inspiring film to get out there and shoot things too. And what we can accomplish. I mean, what you could accomplish. Sometimes you don't want to tell people, we did that in a day. You don't want to let people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it a couple hours. But yeah. No, it's fantastic. And it's on Netflix, so everybody can check that out. Right? It's already on.
In a dark room, hopefully with your settings that you asked your favorite DP to calibrate for you on your TV so that you can see it as it was intended. Yes, it's on Netflix.
And a box of tissues, maybe. I would. If I watch this again, I know I need some tissues. So yeah, but thank you. And so great to meet you. So thank you for... Really can't thank her enough for her time and talking so passionately about this film and the work. Because I know small budgets and these miracles, and as she talked about with like that big tree and using it once and then using it again and everything, and you just become creative sometimes. Sometimes, I forget who was telling me this, or someone said it perfectly on this podcast years ago, that creativity sometimes is squashed in a way by money. Like when you have too much money, your creativity doesn't expand because you can just do it with this and that. But when you really have to think about it and I think that's one of the things working in an art department is, as you will always know, you never say no. You say like, I'll let yes and oh shit, basically. But yeah. I really loved hearing about this film, and it has stayed with me. I don't know if I can watch it again. I can't watch Hamnet again. I could probably watch this again. It's not devastatingly sad, but it's pretty sad. So if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you are subscribed to the Decorating Pages podcast on the website to get the newsletter every week of what the episodes are out. Please rate and review the show. It really helps me, and it helps other designers and art department folks, dork out on things. You can watch this interview and a ton of other episodes on the Decorating Pages YouTube channel. And there are playlists for production designers, set decorators, and especially all the award season projects. So it's all like really good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, Tron. Yeah, that was a good one. Wow, a lot of work on that one too. All right, I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanna for Decorating Pages.